Hi there! Welcome to my channel. It's me, Alexander, coming to you from my sewing room, as you can see. And from what you could probably tell, today is a special video. As many of you know, last Sunday was Mother's Day, and probably guessed from the intro of this video, I'm going to be making a Mother's Day present. This, however, is going to be something different from what I normally do. I'm not going to be sewing, I'm not going to be quilting, I'm not going to be making any sort of fashion. What I am going to be doing is embroidering for really the first time. Well, second. I did give a tryout for some things. You may have seen that on my Instagram. Now, I have never done embroidery on really any sort of scale. Why not try this out? I always like to learn new things, and I thought I would make something that was pretty and beautiful my mother could have for a long time. As you might expect, I did do a lot of Googling and YouTubing, figuring out what sort of embroidery and how to do it, where to get supplies, what kind of patterns you can find. I went to my local Michael's to get everything. You might have something different in your area. As for patterns, I really couldn't find a specific Mother's Day pattern, so I figured I would just create my own. I used my Cricut machine. Yes, you can use a Cricut machine too. All I did was find the embroidery hoop size I was going to use, which happened to be, I believe, 9 inches, draw a circle in my Cricut software at 8 inches, and then draw everything inside of that with the free Photos software Cricut pictures that I had. Now, I know that most people don't think of maybe Cricut as a software for embroidery. Sometimes you got to use what you got to use and make it the easiest possible, and I honestly found that doing that gave me the specific sizing and locations of everything I needed to. I could move things around, I had my pattern, and it was good to go. As you can see, this is the pattern I came up with. I printed it on an 8x10 sheet of paper, just for ease and convenience. Next, I checked to see if the fabric I was going to use would fit over the pattern. I also picked up some carbon transfer sheets from my local Michael's. Next, it was time to transfer my pattern to the fabric. I taped the carbon paper and the fabric down with the pattern on top and started tracing it with a pen. Being this is carbon paper, a light outline will transfer then onto the fabric so I could follow. I went slowly to make sure I could get all the details needed from the pattern. And there you go, as you see, transferred. I tried ever so hard to fit it into the plastic embroidery hoop. Note, I didn't need it exactly centered, as this was not going to be the finished hoop that I was going to be giving away to my mother. Once the fabric was in the hoop, I tightened the nut and pulled the fabric gently all the way around to make sure the fabric was nice and taut for embroidery. I decided to start with the roses, the largest elements in this embroidery. I figured since they were going to be the most difficult, start with them first. The first rose did take a while, as it was, well, my first rose ever. I did stick to it, going round and round to finish the rose. I then moved on to the white rose. Again, sticking to it, going round and round. This was not the most easy thing to do, and it was time consuming, but again, it looks great. Next, I did the small bunch of flowers. These are much easier with a satin stitch. I decided these flowers should have a black center, and I did a French knot, I think that's what it's called, to make the centers. Those were a little bit difficult for a beginner. The heart was next, and since it's a larger element, went really quickly and turned out beautifully. I wanted to make sure when doing this pattern, and then embroidering it, that I had many flowers of many different colors. This is why almost every single flower on here is a different color. Sometimes there were challenges, but I turned those challenges into beautiful flowers. In this case, the rope or floss was twisting, but it still turned out beautifully. As I mentioned before, I wanted each flower to be unique and different. So, when I went to Michael's to get my embroidery floss, I tried to pick complementary colors to the main bodies of each flower to give them different centers, highlights, accents, etc. Sometimes you just need to put on a good Netflix show and or binge watch something and sit in front of the TV and embroider. Very therapeutic. Another evening, the same hoodie, another television show to binge watch. All important when doing beautiful embroideries. As you can see, it's really becoming a springtime bouquet, which is what I was going for. The different types of flowers, different colors, different centers, each with their own characteristics. I learned a lot when going through all this. The next night, a different hoodie, same embroidery, different show. It's really important to be interactive with your embroidery. Get hold of it, move it around, learn it. For leaves, I googled several different types of leaf stitches and chose I think it's called herringbone or fishbone stitch. I thought it gave the most depth and for a beginner like me, looked the nicest and was the easiest to complete. Almost finished, looks pretty good. Just need to put it back into its regular and gifting hoop. I decided to spruce up this bamboo hoop. I decided to stain it with some stain I had in my storage closet. Once dry to the touch, I gave it a quick wipe, just in case. Unlike before in the creation hoop, the display hoop I needed to be centered, completely centered, and taut. So I took my time adjusting the screw and pulling gently all the way around to make sure it got as taut as possible. and then trimmed the fabric. Once I had trimmed the fabric, I took some string and did a running stitch all the way around. As this embroidery is meant to be hung, I didn't want excess fabric hanging out the back. Once the running stitch came to the start, I then pulled gently so that the fabric would fold in on itself, creating a nice, even surface for hanging. Now, as you could see, I had everything done. The embroidery was in the pretty display hoop. I had finished the back. Now it was just to pack it up and go to my parents' house and present to my mother. So, without further ado, here is my finished embroidery given to my mother. So, there you go. Presented, everything looks good. She loved it. So, if you like this video, please make sure you subscribe, or hit the bell icon, or hit the thumbs up. This all helps my viewership and all that. I hope you like the content of this. If you'd like to see me do more embroidery type videos, maybe embroider some clothes, embroider a jean jacket, embroider a sweatshirt, embroider a small goat, let me know again in the comments below. And again, please subscribe. Please subscribe below. Thanks. Bye-bye now.